Welcome to Warrior Bulletin News, your trusted source for fast, accurate, and powerful information from around the world. And I can count on one hand the number of times I have seen the entire panel just stop and look at each other in disbelief. And that is exactly what happened on the show today when Malikiku Andrews brought up the possibility of Kawhi Leonard joining the Golden State Warriors. The reaction was immediate and it was visceral. Tim Legler literally leaned back in his chair and said the words that I think every basketball fan was thinking. He said, "This is not fair." And honestly, when you think about what Kawhi Leonard playing alongside Stephen Curry would look like on a basketball court, those three words sum it up perfectly. It is not fair. It would not be fair. And the conversation that followed on the show today was one of the most fascinating and detailed breakdowns of a potential superstar pairing that I have ever heard on any basketball show. So, let me walk you through everything because there were points made that I think completely change how you should think about the Warriors' off-season plans. Hey, what's up everyone? Real quick before we get into everything. That like button is literally what determines if this reaches hundreds or thousands of fans. Takes 1 second, but makes a huge impact on the channel's growth. Just smash that like button right now. It's the easiest thing you can do, but honestly, the biggest way to support this content. Every single like pushes this further, so hit it now. Malikiku set up the conversation by talking about the reports that have been swirling for weeks about the Warriors making one last big push to put a championship-caliber roster around Stephen Curry. She referenced the quotes from various insiders about how the Warriors are expected to load up this summer. She talked about how Curry himself has expressed the expectation that another star will be added to this team. And then she dropped the Kawhi possibility and the panel went to work breaking down every angle of what this would mean. Legler started by talking about the basketball fit between Kawhi and the Warriors system, and his analysis was so detailed and so compelling that I found myself completely rethinking what the Warriors could be if they pulled this off. He said that the Warriors' offensive system under Steve Kerr is predicated on spacing, ball movement, and creating open looks through constant ball motion. He said that the system is designed to get players clean looks at the basket by making the defense rotate and scramble and chase. And he said that Kawhi Leonard would be an absolutely devastating weapon in that system because Kawhi is one of the most efficient mid-range and three-point shooters in the game. He said that when you put Kawhi in an offense that is constantly creating open looks through movement and spacing, the amount of clean shots he would get is going to be absurd. He would be catching the ball in rhythm on the wing with space to operate. He would be getting open looks off pin downs and screens. He would be spotting up in the corner when Curry draws the double team. And Legler said that Kawhi converting those open looks at his typical efficiency rate would make the Warriors' offense historically good. Like historically good, like potential best offense of all time good. Chinny then jumped in and she made a point that I think is the most important aspect of this entire discussion. She talked about how joining the Warriors would actually be the best thing for Kawhi's body and his long-term health. She said that the biggest concern with Kawhi throughout his career has been his inability to stay healthy. He has dealt with chronic knee issues. He has missed significant time in multiple seasons. And she said that one of the reasons he has had so many health problems is that he has been asked to carry enormous offensive loads on his previous teams. With the Clippers, Kawhi was expected to be the primary scorer, the primary creator, and the primary defender every single night. That is an enormous physical toll on any player, let alone a player who has had the kind of injury history that Kawhi has. And Chinese said that the Warriors represent the opposite of that situation. In Golden State, Kawhi would not have to carry the team. He would not have to be the primary creator. He would not have to play 40 minutes every night. Curry would still be the engine of the offense. Draymond would still facilitate. Porzingis, if he stays, would still be a factor. And Kawhi could play a role that is more physically sustainable. He could play 30 minutes a night instead of 38. He could take 15 shots a night instead of 22. He could let the system do a lot of the offensive work and only take over when the team needs him to. And Chinese said that this kind of reduced workload could be transformative for Kawhi's health. It could allow him to stay on the court for a full season and then be fresh and healthy for the playoffs. And she said that a healthy Kawhi in the playoffs is the most dangerous player in basketball. Nobody wants to see him on the other side of the bracket when he is healthy and locked in. Bobby Marks then got into the logistics and he said that the Warriors have been positioning themselves for exactly this kind of move. He said that the Warriors front office has been strategic about maintaining financial flexibility for this summer. He talked about how the Portsingers acquisition was essentially a placeholder move when they could not land Giannis at the deadline. And he said that the Warriors are going to be aggressive this summer in pursuing a true difference-making star. And Mark said that Kawhi makes sense from a financial perspective depending on how his contract situation resolves. He went through the various scenarios. If the contract is voided, Kawhi becomes a free agent and the Warriors could potentially create enough space to sign him outright or use exceptions to bring him in. If the contract is not voided, it becomes a trade scenario where the Warriors would have to put together a package to send to the Clippers. And Mark said that the Warriors have assets to make a trade work if it comes to that. They have young players. They have draft capital. They have expiring contracts. And Mark said that the Warriors front office led by Mike Dunleavy and Joe Liob have shown a willingness to go into the luxury tax and make aggressive moves when they believe it is going to result in a championship. And adding Kawhi to play alongside Curry would absolutely fall into that category. Legler then went back to the basketball side and he started talking about the defensive implications of Kawhi joining the Warriors, and this is where I got really excited. He said that the Warriors have always been at their best when they combine elite offense with elite defense. He said that during the championship years the Warriors did not just outscore teams, they also defended at an incredibly high level. They switched everything. They disrupted passing lanes. They played with a physicality and an intensity that made opposing offenses uncomfortable. And Legler said that one of the things the Warriors have been missing in recent years is that elite perimeter defender who can lock down the opposing team's best player. He said that Draymond is still an excellent defender, but he is not the guy who is going to chase around a quick guard or lock up an elite wing scorer. Their Warriors need someone who can take that assignment. And Legler said that Kawhi is the best perimeter defender of his generation. He can guard anyone from point guards to power forwards. He can lock down the opposing team's best player while still being a major offensive weapon on the other end. And Legler said that adding that kind of two-way elite player to the Warriors would create a team that is elite on both ends of the floor. A team that can outscore you and a team that can shut you down. And he said that throughout NBA history, the teams that have been able to do both of those things simultaneously are the teams that have won championships and the teams that have created dynasties. Chinny also made a fascinating point about how Kawhi and Curry together would create an impossible defensive dilemma for opposing teams. She said that when you guard Curry, you have to extend your defense out to the three-point line because Curry can shoot from 35 feet and make it look routine. That means the defense has to be stretched and spread to cover Curry's range. But she said that when you also have Kawhi on the floor, who is one of the best mid-range and isolation scorers in the league, the defense also has to account for Kawhi getting the ball in space and going to work. And she said that you cannot stretch to cover Curry and also compress to take away Kawhi's driving lanes. You cannot do both simultaneously. It is physically impossible for a defense to cover both of those threats at the same time. And Chinese said that this creates an unsolvable problem for opposing teams. Either you respect Curry's range and give Kawhi room to operate, or you pack the paint against Kawhi and let Curry fire away from deep. Either way, their Warriors are getting a great shot from an elite scorer. And she said that when you combine that offensive dilemma with the defensive presence of Kawhi, Draymond, and a rim protector like Porzingis, you are looking at a team that has no weaknesses on either end of the floor. And that is when dynasties are born. Malikika brought up the emotional and competitive aspect of this potential pairing, and I thought it was a really important part of the discussion. She talked about how this could represent the last great championship window for both Curry and Kawhi. She said that Curry is going to be 39 next season. He does not have many prime years left. And she said that Kawhi has dealt with so many injuries that his window for winning another championship could also be closing. And Malikika said that when two all-time great players both have closing windows, there is a natural gravitational pull toward each other. There is a mutual understanding that time is running out and that joining forces gives both players the best chance to add another championship to their resumes before it is too late. And she said that the combination of Curry's desire to win one more title and Kawhi's desire to prove he can still be the best player in the world when healthy creates a powerful motivation for both players to make this work. She said that sometimes in the NBA, the stars align and two great players end up on the same team at exactly the right time. And she said that Kawhi to the Warriors could be one of those moments. Ledger also addressed the skeptics who might say that Kawhi's health makes this too risky. He said that he understands the concern. He said that Kawhi has missed a lot of games over the last several years and that any team that acquires him is taking on some level of risk. But Legler said that the potential reward far outweighs the risk. He said that a healthy Kawhi playing alongside Curry in the Warriors system is a championship team. Period. No debate. And he said that even if Kawhi only plays 60 or 65 games during the regular season, their Warriors have enough other talent to weather those absences. They can manage his load during the regular season and then unleash him in the playoffs when the games matter most. And Legler said that the Warriors have experience managing the health of their stars. They managed Curry's ankles for years. They managed Durant's calf. They know how to keep their best players fresh for the postseason. And he said that this expertise and player health management could be exactly what Kawhi needs to finally stay healthy through a full playoff run. Bobby Marks closed the Warriors segment with a striking statement. He said that if the Warriors pull this off, it would be the most impactful off-season move by any team in at least a decade. He said that Kawhi to Golden State would instantly make the Warriors the favorites to win the championship. Not because they were already close, but because adding a player of Kawhi's caliber to a team that already has Curry is the kind of move that creates an exponential leap in team quality. He said that an 1+1 does not equal 2 in this case. It equals something much more than 2 because the combination of those two players together is greater than the sum of their individual contributions. And Malikika finished by saying that this could create an unstoppable dynasty again. And honestly, after watching that entire segment, I am convinced that if Kawhi ends up in a Warriors uniform, the rest of the league needs to figure out something fast because that team would be borderline unbeatable. Make sure you subscribe because we are going to be all over this story. Let us go.